An entire region caught in a moment of flux. 2 dictators toppled. A wave of mass uprisings and many lives altered. Strangers united by the slogan, "The people want the fall of the regime." Now they think of what future they want.
The people want honest leader, a regime who thinks of people, not of themselves.
Social justice, good future for their children, good future for themselves, and a decent standard of living.
The people want the freedom to express themselves without the fear of getting killed.
The people want justice.
People want dignity.
The people want life.
Simple aspirations shared by people the world over. But as the momentum that inspired the Arab awakening fades, will any now be met?
Certainly, I feel a sense of pride of being part of this region for the first time in a long time. We've always been brought up under the illusion that we are different, we're incapable of changing the status quo and the way that the entire Arab world is being ruled. But seeing what's happened in Egypt and Tunisia has gave us back the sense of, no, we can be different and we can go down that path of democratization and reform and development. Why should we be any different?
Change for the better hovers on the horizon. Democracy may well be the end goal for many, but what they wanted to deliver is less clear.
The weaknesses of the democracy movement is that people is not ready yet. People, what you destroyed in 30 years or in 60 years cannot be built in 60 days or in 30 days.
We know that our country is very rich, so we don't. In the last 40 years, our people was poor or poorest people in this region. So we need a democracy. That's what we need.
هم مش فاهمين مفهوم الديمقراطية، فما عبد يظهر له مثلا أنه لو كان هو مثلا يجيب شي يقف الكهرباء قدامي يقول لي حق من حقوقي أنا حر. إذا معناها احنا نحكيو على شعب كامل، يلزم تصير عملية اللي بشوية بشوية يوصل للشعب يفهم مفهوم الديمقراطية، وهذه حكاية تاخذ وقت. دونك اليوم الديمقراطية ولات همجية.
I don't know if they will be able to establish a system very quickly. There should be someone who would take the lead again, and this is where the problem will be.
هو بيعتمد برضه على أي تعريف الديمقراطية احنا بنحكي. هو في الديمقراطية اللي قتلوا فيها مليونين عراقي يعني. عرفت كيف؟ في الديمقراطية اللي تعلمنا تعريفها تاعت اليونان زمان. وفي الشورى. وفي كل يعني الموضوع أنا مش خبير بالسياسة يعني، بس يعني قانون انتخاب يعني الموضوع كتير بسيط يعني انه لابد من ميكانيكيه تطلع فيها صوت الشعب للحكم. هذا اللي انا بحكي عنها، ما بعرفش بصراحه اذا اسمها ديمقراطيه. قول معاي، في مخطط بخبط على الابواب، قول وراي، في مخطط للسيطرة على كافة المنطقة وأنا مش فاهم منطقك، طب انطق كلمة وراي. في مخطط مات بس كتبه بكل اللهجات، جابت لربع البلع وللغرب علاجات، تقدر تعتبرها ثقافة عامة أو تنزلها مادة بحسب لك عليها ساعات. المنطقة أكيد بحالة صحوة يعني. أصلاً زي لما بلشت الثورات هاي اللي عم نحكي عن قبل 3 أشهر، حسيت حالي اني مش رح ابطل اعرف اكتب اغنيه، لان كل اغنيه فكرتهم عن الشعب النايم. فهلا اذا صحي شو بدي اقول انا؟ عرفت كيف؟ انه مش شغلتي، انا شغلتي اكتب على اللي نايمين، شغل انتقاد يعني وهيك بس. فشكلي لازم اصحي حالي انا هلا قبل ما اتفلسف.
The threat posed by an extremist alternative has been a powerful weapon in the rhetoric of Arab tyrants. But those with faith in democracy believe it could reduce extremism and may finally reconcile the many shades of political and religious belief in this region.
هلا الأنظمة أكيد بتستفيد من الراديكالز يعني أكيد بيستفيدوا من التطرف لأنه بيساعد بأنهم يفرضوا قوانين طوارئ وقوانين أمنية. من ناحية إنه خلوا العلمانية والإسلامية يكونوا أشياء مناقضين، برضه هاي لعبة كثير مهمة لأنه هم مش مفروض يكونوا هيك. صباح الفساد والفشل السياسي، المأزق الصعب والعيش القاسي، أنا مش يعني بحاولوا يخوفونا من العلمانية إنها رح تبعدنا عن الثقافة الإسلامية والعربية. وهذا الشيء مش صحيح لأنه المبدأ الأساسي مفروض بالنظام العلماني إنه يكفل حقوق جميع الناس، والإسلام بيكفل حقوق جميع الناس. بنفس الوقت بخوفونا من الإسلامية إنها يعني رح تكون كلها تكفيرية وقمع شديد على أساس إنه اللي موجود مش قمع يعني عرفت كيف؟
The fear of the Muslim Brotherhood taking over has always been used to peg back the political progress. And I think everybody's now realized that this can no longer be an excuse. And I think the Islamic Brotherhood, like any other party, should be judged on their program. And if they have a program that becomes unaccepted to the majority of people, then people will vote for somebody else. This is how democracies function.
We are now brothers, regardless of the religion.
I, for one, believe that our national identity will prevail over the smaller identities that have been festering the last few years.
We just found out that terrorism was an invention, by the police. I mean, maybe it was aggravated by the police.
For 18 days, I mean, the churches without any police, and nothing happened.
Nothing happened. And in Tahrir Square,
nothing happened.
Huh?
Not even one single fight.
Not only that, but the Christians would guard the Muslims when they were praying. So you'd see the Muslims in the middle, the Christians around them, and vice versa. So that was a myth. It was the regime that was the final wall behind which there would be all chaos. Okay, we're not entirely beyond chaos, but we're not in the chaos that the regime has been promising us. And in fact, that was in the president's second speech, if you recall. That was basically what he said. It's a choice between me or absolute anarchy. Yeah, total chaos.
But despite hopes for a new age of religious harmony, that era seems over before it even began. Though the fruits of this Arab Spring are yet to be enjoyed, political expression itself is an experience many now savor for the first time.
Ooh, wow.
We have changed already. I mean, we are a different world right now. We neglected politics. We never thought about it. We were very demotivated and we didn't want to participate. But, now we think that our vote counts and we have a voice. And we want to do so much for our country.
And everybody talks politics. Everybody.
And everybody wants to take part of this.
And we did in the referendum on the March 19th. My God, that was one hell of an experience, wasn't it?
Very good. Everybody was so happy, just to be able to go and vote without being
we developed
harassed.
a very possessive attitude over this country.
Did you vote before?
Never.
I never voted.
My mother never voted before.
I went. My dad went. My mother,
my
my
dad
sister.
never voted
That was the first time for my
never
mother.
voted before. So
Big changes.
We were very excited. Everybody was very, very excited.
Very
that,
changed.
For the first time in our lives,
we discovered our voices.
We discovered that we had a voice, and it counts.
Not all those in favour of reform want to bring down the old regime. In places where both the ruler and reformers compromise, one avoids loss of power, the others loss of life.
I think change will happen in Jordan, but will it be like Egypt and Tunisia? No. I mean, in all the protests I've been to and in all the discussions I've attended, and even with the most extreme opposition, nobody in Jordan calls for a change of the regime at all. I think there's a sort of a unanimous, there's a consensus in Jordan on the monarchy system. I think the government acted very quickly. First of all, they allowed the peaceful protests, but then they started replying to people's demands. The government changed immediately. It was one of the calls of the people to change the government. They established a new committee for dialogue, taking in people who you would have never thought would be in such or would be handpicked by the government. And the committee for dialogue is to put a roadmap and for political reform in the country, amongst which is changing the election law. I think the government reacted quickly, but I think the people should definitely keep the pressure and not wait and see.
And partnership with the authorities could bring profits.
This is a very unique project here. It's been going for 5.5 years. The government of Jordan issued a tender for companies to perform billing and collection activities on behalf of the Ministry of Water. It's a new form of public-private partnership where private companies can come in and do specific services but get paid on performance. In an environment of transparency and accountability, I think businesses blossom. This is my opinion, and this is why I've been participating in most of the protests that have taken place.
Whether by revolution or gradual reform, Arab citizens all over want to reshape the relationship with their leaders.
A lot of myths were destroyed by this revolution. The first thing is the thing of not choosing your leader. Now you can choose your leader. We're under the impression is that you have someone rule this country until he's dead, and then maybe his son will continue or will follow. This is completely destroyed now. The other thing is that the power of people is the real power in the world. It's not the power of the regime, it's not the power of the leader, it's the power of people themselves.
And nobody's above the law now. Yeah, we know that every government who's going to come is going to get,
punished.
punished.
Not punished, no, but scrutinized.
Everybody has to deliver and has to be very careful when taking a position in the government.
Yeah.
That they're going to be questioned.
Yeah, because there are expectations. We don't just want some guy who looks good or is educated and all that.
And I think it's changed the fact that the way we look at our officials as well. Ministers in this part of the world, when they come into power, they believe they are God's gift to creation, and they become.
And they have absolute power.
But now I think it's different. People, ministers, understand that they are brought here, they have a job to do, and that they are part of the people and they work for the people.
Like other country, 4 years and go out. So you can't stay in the power more than 4 years. No need. If you can't do anything for your country, we give you chance of 4 years, 8 years, but not for life. Not just for life, to give it to your sons.
But from the vantage point of some in the region, the ideal of a democratic Arab leadership seems little more than a pipe dream.
I'm very skeptical about the situation because so many dictators were revolutionaries before. So the new revolutionaries, we don't know what they will do later on. We've seen many faces of revolution or democracy, and sometimes they called it democracy when it wasn't. We've seen so many faces. Lebanon has been through so many stages lately, and every time that I personally had hope in reaching like a more unified system or one solution, I was wrong. And I've learned not to trust the whole thing. politics and religion has been Lebanon's worst enemies. That's why I keep myself protected from both, and that's why I don't promote any of them. I try to promote life. I mean, we're here once, let's enjoy it, let's take it easy. There are so many more interesting things and many more interesting feelings and emotions we need to experience than negativity and conflicts.
But not everyone can afford the luxury of indifference. For war respects no one.
حاولت معك.
ايوه دكتور.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر.
I know him personally, yes. I know him personally. He's one of our medical staff here before. This one is not a fighter. He's the one who giving the medical support to the group, to this battalion, yes. But as you know.
Suddenly it's coming like something like that, and we become sad again, depressed again, waiting for the results, political solution. I don't know. But in the end, I believe, and all our people believe, that it will end. When and how, nobody knows. Maybe Allah knows about that.
Should we stop this revolution and go back to the normal, to the what Libya used to be, that means that all these people have died for nothing.
We were all very angry that people lost their lives, you know, and they didn't deserve that, you know, and so that kind of made us, you know, it's the anger also that was happening that really kept, I think, everybody pumped up and, you know, up all night and whatever, because we were upset. So, you know, it's hard to say, yeah, it was worth it, but what happened, you know, whatever trouble we went through was definitely worth it.
And I think every time blood is being spilled, I think people are becoming more determined that this particular ruler has to go.
You know, this revolution was a surprise not only for our regime, it was a surprise also for the Western and for the US. And they were surprised that, what is this? Something is happening in Egypt without our interference. And it was not us who is driving this. So I believe they are recalculating their whole opinions and their whole strategy towards the Arab countries, and especially the biggest one, which is Egypt.
Optimists hope internal changes will usher in a new dawn in relations with the outside world.
We want a good change. We want a good relation with all the world. We are seeking a civil government. This is what we are seeking. We want the people in the whole world to know Libya, not to know Gaddafi.
Most people realize that once the democratization movement takes place and develops, countries will deal with the West and other international powers based on the national best interest. There was a feeling between many Arabs, including myself, that Egypt, for example, foreign policy was decided based on the fact that Mubarak wanted to bring his son in as president. I wanted the Western support for that. Other regimes base their foreign policy purely on what's in their best interest to cling on to their regime. There's a feeling this will change.
But imagining a new beginning for this region takes a leap of faith. And hope can be crushed by the turn of events.
Taking a turn to the worse, sectarian clashes reached the heart of the very grounds that witnessed Egyptians united in their fight against Mubarak, now a scene
images
of
appeared of
bitter
what it said was the latest NATO air attack on the capital, Tripoli. Journalists were taken to a site near to Gaddafi's compound where 3 civilians were killed and who they claimed had nothing to do with the military.
أتوقع أنا عشان هيك أكيد الغرب له مصلحة يدعم بعض الثورات عشان هي عم بيخططوا لهذا المشروع الكبير نظام عالم جديد. بخوفني أنا، بخوفني إنه يكون في حكومة واحدة وكله يعني نفس المطاعم في كل بلد وكل الأساليب كل شيء بيشبه بعضه وكنا رح نخسر ثقافاتنا، رح نكون مكيفين على إنه العالم قرية صغيرة وكلنا مع بعض، بس إحنا فعليا رح نكون كلنا عبيد للناس اللي فوق، والناس اللي فوق رح يكونوا مشكلين من جميع الألوان. يعني هلا احنا عانينا من مواضيع زي التفرقه بالدين والعرق والجنس، فهلا رح يستغنوا عن كل هذا ورح يعطونا اياه كله، وكل العالم رح ينبسط انه صار في عندنا حكام من جميع الاجناس والالوان والاديان، بس رح نرجع للفكره الاساسيه للخير والشر عرفت كيف؟ والضعفاء والاقوياء رح يكونوا عم بيراقبونا.
Lives suspended. People caught between extremes of hope and dread.
Currently, we are, like someone who was in a very dark tunnel, and he cannot see anything, and suddenly you find a lot of lights in your eyes. So possibly also you don't see anything, and then you will start seeing.
Though there's so much uncertainty in the immediate future, some can't help but believe that their children will reap the benefits of this epic struggle.
I stopped thinking of going outside Egypt because I was thinking of going outside Egypt to work abroad for a better future for my kids. But now I don't think this will happen. I think that the future of my kids will be in this country.
Counting on you. Yeah, a lot of pressure on you now. A few months ago we were coming back from Sinai or something, entering into Cairo, and at the entrance to the city there's this huge sign, huge picture of Mubarak. Shams asked me, these pictures, doesn't it cost a lot to change them? Because they're all over the place. And we made the joke about it. Yeah, well, that's why we don't change presidents so often, because it costs so much to change the pictures. So we don't have. And when you think about it, Shams has never seen another president. So now the good news is that picture.
I still didn't see him.
Well, yeah, you will see. You will see.
We now understand that we've been living in a big prison for all our lives. This is our cause, and this is a crucial time, and hopefully these are the best times of our lives. We get the opportunity to build our country from scratch, and we get the opportunity to make this country better for the next generations. So we all feel blessed, and that's why we feel the anti-craft Yunus with a smile, because we do understand the blessing and the importance of our firm stand in these situations.
World Cup after Qatar, it's going to be in Libya, because it's going to be much better than these days. Okay? Take care.